In Nicaragua, municipal elections to renew all mayors, deputy mayors and city councilors take place with a large turnout. Egypt hosts from Sunday the COP27 Summit to renew commitment against climate change and review compliance with the targets set in Glasgow. And in Russia, oil and gas companies agreed to expand energy cooperation with Iraq in spite of the difficult political and military situation in the country. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Nicaragua, municipal elections are underway this Sunday to renew all mayors, deputy mayors and councilmen. According to local media reports, this Sunday there were long lines at more than 3,000 voting centers throughout the national territory, even before they opened at 7 a.m. local time. More than 3,700,000 Nicaraguans are summoned for this day, who must elect 153 mayors and deputy mayors, as well as 5,770 councillors of the municipalities of the country. The citizens who go to the polls highlighted the good development of the elections and the importance of this process as a step to continue the transformation agenda that the country is in the process of undergoing.
I hope that the municipal elections will be held in peace, because Nicaragua needs more peace, more love, more reconciliation, and I believe that this will lead us to move forward every day. It is good to have the opportunity to elect the authorities that we are going to have during the next 5 years. And we hope and trust in them. That is why we are casting out vote to continue the agenda of the transformation process that our country is undergoing for its welfare.
Of course I did. I went to exercise my right to vote. It was a very fast process. The staff are taking good care of us, and it is progressing rapidly, and it is a process that is going in excellence.
The magistrate of the Supreme Electoral Council of Nicaragua, Lumberto Campbell, assured that Sunday's election day is taking place normally, while emphasizing that it constitutes an opportunity to strengthen the country's democracy.
Throughout the country, all the centers, the polling stations are open. Everything is working normally as we expect. That will be open from 7 in the morning until 6 in the afternoon. Of course, if there are lines, the polling stations will remain open until the last Nicaraguan who wishes to exercise his or her vote does it. It is an opportunity to strengthen our democracy, to consolidate our peace, to advance in this free, sovereign and independent Nicaragua.
On Friday, Colombian President Gustavo Petro led the commemoration of the 37th anniversary of the occupation and retaking of the Justice Palace. The Colombian President and Vice President Francia Marquez attended the Eucharist at the Primal Cathedral of Colombia in Bogota in a ceremony that was also attended by religious and judicial authorities, as well as survivors and relatives of the victims. The presence of President Gustavo Petro was highly symbolic, since the head of state was a militant of the M19 guerrillas who took over the palace in 1985. The retaking by Colombian army left at least 90 dead, among them several magistrates and some 11 missing. 37 years after those events, the survivors continue demanding truth and justice.
They entered violently, yes, but they asked for dialogue and they didn't get it. What they gave us all was only a massacre, a brutal armed seizure. Well, I've been struggling a lot to know the truth and to get justice done. I believe that for us relatives to be able to forgive, we need to know what happened. We buried our dead and they closed the case. So we need to know the truth so we can mourn our dead properly.
In Bolivia, the meeting of the Technical Commission that will set the definite date for the population and housing census in the country moves forward. Since 11 a.m. on Saturday, more than 50 specialists met in the city of Trinidad in the department of Beni to set the dates for the census. The The table includes 11 representatives from public universities, 9 from municipal associations, 10 from municipalities of capital cities and the Highlands, 9 from the governor's offices, and 6 from the indigenous autonomies. The Technical Commission's task is to draw up a plurinational meeting and to reach a consensus regarding the census stipulated for 2024. The table was inaugurated on Friday night by the Bolivian President Luis Arce Catacora in the facilities of the Jose Bolivian Autonomous University of Benin. We're going to take a short break, but first remember you can follow us on TikTok at the account at teleSUR English, in which you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the South. Egypt hosts from this Sunday the COP27 Climate Summit to renew the global commitment on the matter and review the fulfillment of the goals set in Glasgow. Welcoming over 40,000 participants to the conference, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, who hosts the event, urged the international community to adopt concrete measures to address climate change, which he considered an existential problem for mankind. In this respect, he recalled that the world is at a very sensitive moment and is exposed to unprecedented existential dangers and challenges affecting the survival of the planet and thus the ability of all humanity to live. Therefore, he stressed the need for the meeting to move from the stage of promises to implementation, with concrete measures on the ground. As part of the schedule, the high-level meeting will be held on Monday, November 7th and Tuesday, November 8th, with the participation of over 100 heads of states and government. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, who arrived in the country on Saturday to participate in the summit, expressed his full willingness to contribute to the cause.
We had a good contact with the delegation that received us on behalf of the government of President el-Sisi. We talked about several issues of the bilateral relationship, and we wished all the success to the government of President el-Sisi for the participation of over 196 countries in this summit on climate change.
In the same context, the Venezuelan president spoke about Venezuela's position on climate change agenda.
Venezuela brings a firm position to accelerate the steps for the fulfillment of the agreements that have already been signed in the past and to speed up the processes so that the destructive capitalist model can be replaced by a humane model, by a responsible model, respectful of the living conditions on the planet.
In Guatemala, at least 67 deaths are reported as a consequence of the last rainy season that has taken place in the country. According to a report by the National Coordinating Institution for Disaster Reduction of Guatemala, the departments with the highest number of deaths are Alta Verapaz with 15, Huehuetenango with 12, and Guatemala with 11. According to this institution, in addition, 10 people are reported missing and 41 injured in the current raining period, while over 1,600 homes suffered severe damage and 336 schools were affected. The institution also detailed that the rains destroyed 20 highways and caused damage to over 1,300. In addition, 50 bridges were totally devastated and 258 others were partially affected. Meanwhile, in the Dominican Republic, the Emergency Operations Center declared that 12 provinces of the country remain on yellow alert and 9 on green alert due to the storm surge over the country, which killed at least 2 people, while hundreds of others were affected by the rain. The Emergency Operations Center said that the capital of the country experienced the heaviest rains recorded in the last 50 years, which caused extensive material damage. On Saturday, Russian forces detained more than 20 accomplices of the Ukrainian Security Service in the Lugansk People's Republic. According to the official statement, the detainees may face up to 20 years in prison if convicted under the articles of espionage and high treason. The detainees include gunners who transmitted data to the Ukrainian military to launch missiles and artillery attacks, which killed dozens of civilians in the Lugansk People's Republic and destroyed a large number of civilian infrastructure in the region. The source also said that if the detainees make a confession, their punishment for complicity could be reduced or that they could even be exempted of criminal responsibility. In Russia, oil and gas companies are actively expanding cooperation with Iraq despite the difficult political and military situation in the country. In a statement to the press, the economic advisor of the Russian embassy in Baghdad, Ilya Labov, assured that Russian oil and gas companies are fulfilling their contracts with Iraqi partners and plan to develop long-term relations. The Russian diplomat pointed out that Moscow expects to launch in the near future the commercial stage of a promising project called Block 10, which is being implemented by Lukoil. The trade exchange between Russia and Iraq reached $313 million in 8 months of 2022, exceeding the figures achieved in the whole of 2021. More news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back from the South. The 5th China International Import-Export opened on Friday at Shanghai Chinese Financial Center. The 5th edition of the expo, scheduled for November 5th to the 10th in Shanghai, will feature over 2,000 exhibitors from more than 100 countries and regions. It is a trade fair aimed at bringing together government officials with business communities, exhibitors and professional buyers from all over the world. Chinese President Xi Jinping delivered a video keynote speech at the opening ceremony, saying that China will work hard to create new opportunities for the world.
The 20th China's Communist Party National Congress emphasizes that China will continue to adhere to the basic national policy of opening up, firmly implement the opening up strategy that features mutual benefit and win-win results, stick to the right direction of economic globalization, and enhance the interconnectivity between domestic and international markets and resources, so that China's new development will provide new opportunities for the world and pushes forward the construction of an open global economy.
China actively supports Africa in building industrial supply chains to boost agriculture. In an event focused on agricultural cooperation, representatives of several Chinese embassies in the African continent highlighted this Friday that Africa needs to build industrial and systematic supplies to boost the productive sector. A Chinese diplomatic spokesman pointed out that since the establishment of China-Africa Cooperation Forum, in the last 10 years they have achieved fruitful results in the agricultural sector and have provided tangible benefits to the African people. Foreign ministers from the Democratic Republic of the Congo and from Rwanda arrived at the site of the Angolan government on Saturday for a fresh round of diplomatic talks amid rising tensions in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Angolan President João Lourenço has been appointed by the African Union as a mediator. Tensions have been particularly high between Kinshasa and Kigali since the resurgence late last year of the March 23 movement, known as M23. The former Tutsi rebellion group took up arms accusing Kinshasa of failing to respect agreements on the demobilization of its combatants. Kinshasa accuses Rwanda of supporting this rebellion, a claim Kigali has systematically denied. According to the United Nations, the fighting between the Congo Armed Forces and the M23 has displaced some 50,000 people since October 20th, of whom 12,000 have sought refuge in Uganda. In Ghana, several civil organizations are protesting in the streets to demand the resignation of President Akufo-Addo in view of the economic difficulties the country is going through. According to local media, the demonstrations took place this Saturday in the country's capital, Accra, where social organizations such as Fix the Country, Arise Ghana, Economic Fighters League, and other activists claim that the head of state and his government have not done enough to address the economic plight of citizens. The protesters also point out that Ghana's economy has suffered considerably, with inflation rising from 13.9% in January to 37.2% in September, which has plunged the neighboring country of Togo into a full-scale economic recession.
System has been run aground. Our economy is in a ditch. You cannot buy a gallon of petrol. A bag of maize cannot be bought. So 3 square meals now is a problem. Survival is for the fittest. And that is not what we voted for him for. We brought him on board because he claimed he had the economic whiskey, which is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Today, the dollar has arrested the city. Times are really tough.
Like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. From you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.